Most relationships don't end because of a single explosive argument. They end because of something much quieter. Something that grows in the dark, under the surface of, "I'm fine," and "don't worry about it." It's called secret resentment. It is the silent killer of long-term love. It's that bitter feeling you get when you feel unheard, unappreciated, or unfairly treated. But instead of saying it, you swallow it. And every time you swallow it, it turns into a brick. Eventually, you've built a wall so high between you and your partner that you can't even remember what it felt like to be on the same team. Hi everyone, I'm Lena. Today, we're going deep. We aren't just talking about why people get mad. We are uncovering the subtle psychological tells that resentment is rotting your relationship from the inside out, even if you think everything is okay. By the end of this video, you'll know the hidden signs to look for, the scorecard trap that destroys intimacy, and most importantly, the exact script you can use tonight to clear the air before it's too late. Before we get to the signs, we need to understand what resentment actually is. In psychology, resentment is often described as the re-feeling of a past wound. Anger is a flash. It happens, it's hot, and it usually passes. But resentment? Resentment is a slow burn. It's what happens when anger is never expressed or validated. Think of your relationship like a bank account. Every time your partner forgets a promise, dismisses your feelings, or leaves the mental load entirely on you, it's a withdrawal. If you don't talk about it, that withdrawal stays on the ledger. Here is the danger. When the resentment balance gets too high, your brain stops seeing your partner as your best friend. It starts seeing them as an adversary. Why is this so hard to detect? Because in a long-term relationship, we are experts at pretending. We want things to work. We don't want to be the difficult one, so we hide it. But the body doesn't lie. The first sign of secret resentment is what I call the volcano effect. Have you ever had a massive blow-up over something completely trivial? Maybe your partner forgot to pick up milk, or they left their shoes in the hallway, and suddenly you're screaming, crying, or giving them the cold shoulder for 3 days. In your head, you might think you are just stressed, but usually it's not about the milk. It's about the 50 other times they forgot something and you said nothing. When you have secret resentment, your patience reservoir is always at 1%. One tiny drop, one pair of shoes, and it overflows. If your reactions don't match the situation, you aren't reacting to the present. You are reacting to the accumulated past. The second sign is much more subtle. It's the use of sarcastic wit, or jabs disguised as humor. If you find yourself making fun of your partner in front of friends, saying things like, "Oh, you know Mark, he can't even find the laundry basket without a map," that's a red flag. When we feel like we can't be direct about our needs, we use sarcasm to leak our frustration. It's a way of saying, "I'm mad at you," without having to take responsibility for the conflict. If you or your partner are just joking, but the jokes feel like they have teeth, that's resentment talking. It's an attempt to level the playing field by knocking the other person down a peg. The third sign is the death of curiosity. This is the one that breaks my heart the most. Early in a relationship, you want to know everything. How was your day? What are you thinking about? But when resentment takes root, curiosity dies. You stop asking questions because you think you already know the answer. And more importantly, you've stopped caring because you feel disconnected. You stop engaging because it feels like too much work. If you realize you haven't had a deep, non-logistical conversation in weeks, you aren't just settled in. You might be withdrawing to protect yourself from further disappointment. Now, let's talk about a major driver of this bitterness, the mental scorecard. In a healthy relationship, the ratio is 100% from both sides. But resentment turns the relationship into a transaction. You start keeping a mental tally. You think about how you did the dishes 3 times this week, or how you were the one who initiated intimacy last time, or how you're the only one who remembers the family doctor appointments. When you are keeping score, you are no longer partners. You are competitors. And the problem with a scorecard is that nobody ever wins. You only look for where your partner is failing so you can justify your own bitterness. If you find yourself constantly thinking about how much more you do than them, you are in the resentment trap. I want to mention something most people miss. Resentment shows up in your body. Research shows that chronic resentment can lead to physical manifestations. You might feel muscle tension, especially in the jaw and shoulders, the moment your partner enters the room. You might experience gut issues. That knot in your stomach isn't just stress, it's unexpressed emotion. And most commonly, it leads to the loss of physical intimacy. Not because you aren't attracted to them, but because your brain sees them as a threat to your emotional peace. You cannot be truly vulnerable with someone you secretly resent. So, how do we fix it? If you realized while watching this that you, or your partner, are harboring secret resentment, do not panic. It is reversible, but it requires what I call a vulnerability audit. You have to move from blame to request. Instead of saying, "You never help me and I'm sick of it," which triggers defensiveness and more resentment, you need a different approach. Try this script. I call it the "I miss us" approach. You can say something like, "Hey, I've realized I've been feeling a bit disconnected lately, and I think I've been holding on to some small frustrations without telling you. I don't want there to be a wall between us. Can we talk about how to balance things better so I can go back to just enjoying being with you?" Notice what that does. It identifies the problem as the wall between you, not the person. It's not an attack. It's an invitation to get back to the version of the relationship that felt good. To clear resentment, you must have a session where both people can speak without the other person getting defensive. You listen and you validate. Even if you don't agree with their perspective, you validate the feeling. You acknowledge that their pain is real to them. Another vital step is practicing radical appreciation. Resentment feeds on what is missing. Appreciation feeds on what is present. For every one thing you are resentful about, try to find 3 things your partner did right today. It sounds simple, but it actually rewires your brain's neural pathways to stop looking for reasons to be angry. You have to actively hunt for the good until it becomes a habit again. Finally, you have to let go of the scorecard. Burn it. Relationships are never exactly 50-50 every single day. Some weeks you give 80 and they give 20, and some weeks it flips. The goal isn't equality in every chore, it's equity in the feeling of being supported. If you feel supported, the chores don't matter as much. If you don't feel supported, even a single fork left in the sink feels like an insult. Your relationship is worth more than a collection of old grudges. Don't let the silent killer take away what you've spent years building. Communication is the oxygen of love. When you stop talking about the hard things, you start suffocating the relationship. It takes courage to be the first one to say, "I'm hurt," instead of, "I'm fine." But that courage is exactly what builds a love that lasts a lifetime. If this video opened your eyes to something you've been feeling, please share your thoughts. Acknowledging the feeling is the first step toward healing it. I'm Lena. Take care of your heart and take care of each other. I'll see you in the next one.